that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, plugged in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life, married to it, my wife.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages? Welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host, as always, Ian, along with my boys Isaiah.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Gavin.
What is Gucci shoes?
And today we are talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 8. This one was called Boredom. And boy, they must have been bored in that studio because this was just the most wild, off-the-wall episode going on, I would wager to say, so far in this show. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you think that there's a crazier one in terms of just actual randomness. There might be.
I will correct Ian.
Okay, what do you got?
That is that he's wrong.
Oh, okay.
Case closed.
Of course. What would I do without Gavin?
He's got you beat.
What would I do without Gavin?
Top-notch evidence.
But anyway, we just got off recording the reaction that we just did. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, you definitely want to go check that out. It was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and a lot of confusion during it. But we're here now to discuss our more deep dive analysis style thoughts, have a conversation, predict, go into kind of some of the nitty gritty of this episode and trying to uncover some stuff. But if you guys enjoy the content today, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, and commenting your thoughts down below. What did you think of our discussion? What did you think of this episode in particular? And what are your thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole this season? But without further ado, let's get into the discussion. So, where do I begin? I mean,
At the beginning.
Yes, please. If anyone has thoughts, but so we get these third year classmates that come onto the scene, literally in the beginning, and immediately the guy is like, "What's your taste?" Like, well, first of all, the girl just starts shit talking, right? And I'm like, okay, this is your typical. I'm in an anime, which means that the second I meet you and I'm not your friend yet, that means I have to berate you and I have to shit talk you and I have to make you feel like a garbage person. So of course, May, I believe her name is May, goes in deep right off the rip. She's like, your friend was trash, which means that you're probably trash and your whole thing's trash. Your squad is trash. Your mama trash. And then the guy goes in. So you're like, okay, this is going to be him, like, I guess, following up on it, and he's going to just fight him for no reason, right? Because this is anime. And he fights him for reasons that I just didn't
Not a good
see.
enough
No,
reason
not
to
a good
qualify
enough.
as a reason.
Not at all, but one that I just didn't see coming. And he asks, what's your taste in women? And if you answer, I guess he said correctly, or if I like your answer, I won't beat you half to death, which seems like a completely arbitrary and subjective thing to ask somebody. But I mean, who am I? And clearly he doesn't like his answer, so fight ensues. Gavin, what do you think on that? Because I feel like we have a lot of arguments here about like waifus and who's our favorite. And I don't know. It's just like, do you think it's warranted to beat someone half to death for their answer?
100%. Because
Okay.
you're lucky I don't
know
beat
he's
you
gonna say
half to
that.
death.
I knew he was. That's why I asked him.
No, I mean, if we're talking reality terms, slow your boat. But if we're talking Gavin versus Ian terms, then yes, because Yuri is best girl and will always be best girl. And if someone doesn't agree with that fact, then they deserve to get their booty bounced. And I'm just saying, you're one of those men who need to get their booty bounced. So yeah,
And
that's
he
all I
said
gotta
it's
say.
not okay unless in Exhibit A is named Gavin and Exhibit B is named Ian.
I also don't like how you use the terminology, get your booty bounced.
Really, I actually thought that was the most poetic thing of this whole statement.
Makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. I would rather you say beat me within an inch of my life. That probably would have felt a little
no, because that would have
That's
been
been
up
done
your alley.
100
And this
times
is
before, like-
exactly.
Sure, yeah, I guess
you
we gotta
think
switch it up.
creatively.
You're right. Crazy stuff. But anyway, so that this guy would agree with Gavin's sentiment. And I thought Fuji gave a pretty good answer because I was like, all right. He does this thing, he's like, I'm not answering your thing, like, that's weird. Why would you ask me? And I'm like, bro, this man has said he's going to beat you within an inch of your life. Just answer the guy. Be like, I like thighs. I like butt. I like boobs. Like anything. You could say, I like character. But so Fuji, has to keep us waiting here. And then he answers finally. And I'm like, thank you. But I liked his answer. He's like, really doesn't matter. He's like, they need to have a strong character and will, and we're good to go, which I guess was good because he would have been fighting at multiple fronts if he had said something like boobs or butt because Nobara was like, if you said that shit, I would have whooped your ass.
But if we're talking about like subverting expectations, it's like, is that not a cop-out of all cop-out answers to be like, well, as long as they have a beautiful person, nigga, fuck that. What part of that woman's body do you prefer and which one do you fetishize? Tell me now. What if you don't? That's why we're fighting. Yeah, but I'm tired of all these protagonists and assistants or friends of protagonists being like, well, as long as they're the perfect human. Nigga, the perfect human doesn't exist, but a woman with a big ass does.
But what if he, again, takes that formula and subverts it again? Instead of saying boobs and ass, he's like, yeah, I love it when like their big toe is just a little bit smaller than their pinky toe or something weird. And you're just like, what?
Something new. Something out of the norm. That's all I want. I just don't, I'm just so, it's so boring.
I say it's like, yo, your clavicle, if it's just a little bit bigger than average. Oh my
Joke's
God.
on you, Gavin. I don't even know what a clavicle is.
Oh my God. What is this episode, dog?
Oh, man, this is like...
This is what we watch.
This is the episode. It's just
I know.
Weird shit that spiraled into randomness.
You're right. This is actually the only way we could talk about this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, clearly, the guy, our third year agrees with you. Nobu, I think his name is Mobu.
Yeah.
He agrees with you. He thought that was a very boring answer.
Which it was.
Fair enough. And proceeds to now try and beat him half to death.
Yeah. I didn't think that Megumin deserved an ass whooping for it. I just thought like, okay, we could spice up like our taste a little bit, but I didn't,
Spice up.
like an ass whooping to the death didn't seem like the appropriate reaction. It could have just been like, oh damn, you a boring nigga, and then like kind of gone, about your day. But that's me.
I didn't mind his answer, but anyway, so they start brawling. This guy, we realize, he's touted to be this guy who during some parade was able to beat the hell out of a special grade and 5 lower grades at the same time. And the rumor has it that he didn't even use curse energy to do so. He didn't even use any sorcery. And he's like, nah, actually, I did versus the special grade, and which makes Fuji even more kind of crap in his pants because he's like, damn, so this guy literally just didn't use it because he didn't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was just you had to be like this. Nah, you're like that jacked. You're a crazy good physical fighter, and you could just use it on a whim. You're super strong. I got to be careful here. So then he summons his toads, which I love those toads. And I love how they were just like chilling on his shoulder, and when he summons them, like almost like a JoJo stand type thing where they do some like pose and they start going into that brawl. I don't know, I like that brawl a lot though. I thought that was a good fight. It was cool. It was short, it was sweet, but yeah, obviously the animation was just on fleek. But yeah, that was some wild stuff. All the while we get Nobara gets a gun pulled on her. I don't know where like what's going on with that. I guess I get it, that's her weapon of choice, but they just let her walk around campus like, strapped.
So I get that they stated that like all the sorcerers like have to be like a little crazy to be a sorcerer, but it's like, okay, but if we're just like willingly rounding up borderline psychopaths like all in one facility and we're like, have fun. It's like, we didn't think this would happen. Like, one student would just whip a gun out on another student, and one would just beat another one almost to death until, thank God we have a sentient panda and some dude who can like speak shit with his mouth. Like, I'm just like, did we not see this coming? There's no contingency for like students just spontaneously ass whooping other students. Like, I don't know. That's just, even in Naruto, it's like, nigga, you can't just start a fight in the middle of the village like, for no fucking reason. Like, you know what I mean? I was watching the episode. I'm like, why is this happening though? Like, why? To me,
it was just wild because she like goes up behind the one girl, Mai, whatever her name is, goes behind Nobara and starts, like talking shit in her ear. And then basically she's like, you're ugly. And just says it. And she's like, immediately just pulls out like a Colt 45, like, and just points it at her gut. And I'm like, first of all, where did you have that? Because your dress doesn't seem like it was supplied. Maybe you had like a leg thing. That leg strap, yeah, whatever, leg strap. And it's like, you're willing to shoot someone over saying that you got like crow's feet or something like that? Like,
well, I mean, if the other dude's going to beat someone to death, I don't think it's that far, like, her killing somebody. It's like, well, I guess killing people is the norm.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell, dude? That was just insane. But I don't even know where to go from there. Some crazy stuff, man. What happens after that? I mean, I was just so messed up from that whole scenario that went down.
You have Gojo talking to the principal.
Yeah, we have this conversation with Gojo.
Somebody talk to me about that. What do we got?
Basically, we do know that from the was it the last? I don't know if it's not the last episode Gojo was in, but the one before that.
Yeah.
That his feelings basically on like the authority and the elders and how they run the jujutsu sorcerers and stuff. And basically he's not fucking with it. He's not happy with it. He's like, these guys just sort of are going to run everyone here into the ground. They're so focused on like, you know, their tradition and their stands and stuff, like they don't even see the imminent threat in front of them. And we learn that that's why he's trying to, you know, that's why educating these students matters to him so much. He wants them to be able to, you know, not only defend themselves, but like understand that like if you don't sort of like make your own way in, especially in a world like this, like you're not going anywhere. And so he kind of spits that at the principal's face, you know, in the way Gojo does with that like sassy, like, but like also super cool and like a little hot, like, you know, kind of you know, attitude that he does. But like what I find interesting is that, so again, and it harkens back to the whole student thing, is like the dynamics. So the whole operation here, right? It kind of comes off as like, I use this term very loosely, a school, right? Where it's like there's a person in charge of everything, and then there's like students, and they all have different, you know, years or levels or whatever, and like you have teachers like Gojo and stuff. But it's like it's just funny that like everybody is just kind of walking. Anytime anybody walks into a room with anybody else, shit talking ensues immediately, right? You got third years talking shit to first years talking back shit to third years. Gojo, who was effectively a teacher, talking shit to the principal. It's like everybody. It feels like this weird scenario where like I don't even know if the cursed demons or spirits have to like fight these niggas as much as just wait for a moment until they all kill each other, because it feels like they're on such a thin strand of like an alliance, you know, where it's like one person says one wrong thing, and it's like, you know what, fuck it. And like they start going at each other, and it's like, guys just started blasting. Everybody relax. Like, I don't know. It was interesting. One, I mean, because we know Gojo's that kind of guy. We know he's not like, you know, yes sir, like, you know, whatever. He's very much like, no, your shit, your plan is ass, and like I know what I'm doing, and because I'm hot shit. And clearly even the principal's assistant agrees with that sentiment, because even all the while she's like, you're being mean. I'm going to report you to, like, you know, the head authorities, whatever. She's like, oh, I hope this nigga gets outside alone so I can take a photo with him. But it is cool. So we from effectively learn that, like, Gojo is basically like, look, you guys are so stuck in your traditions and your ways here that you don't even realize that, like, you know, we have Sukuna's vessel has shown his face. He refers to the incident with the guy whose name I don't remember, but is, like, we know is like in cahoots at the very least with the cursed spirits, or the ones that attacked Gojo. He's like, you guys don't even realize that like all these things are like already being put into effect, and like something's coming, and you guys aren't even like aware enough to be able to like stop it, let alone handle it. So then he effectively leaves, and after that, I mean, we kind of just have the the rounding up, so to speak, of the whole Megami, Nobara confrontation with the third years, which was interesting. Yeah. You get like the guy who I guess he's kind of got the Rai thing going on, where he can just talk to you. Like he zips open the thing and he's like, don't move. And which I don't know if it actually works or not, because then the panda comes in 2 seconds later and just clotheslines the dude.
Even if it was for a split second, I guess.
So it's like, it's that thing where it's like in rapid succession, you get to like sort of see what everybody's gimmick is or their thing is. And then I'm forgetting her name, but the girl with the green hair who comes in to like save Nobara.
My sister.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I forgot her actual name.
Yeah, me too. But just so you can reference.
Comes in to save Nobara, and you learn that like she has actually something in common with Mai, which is in the fact that neither one of them naturally is imbued with cursed energy. So I don't know, man. I
definitely like the fact that every student or fighter seems to be very different in their styles, in the sense that some of them don't even use cursed energy in the sense that they can't manifest it, right? They need to use objects. There's a panda. I mean, that one, whatever. But like, there's like all these different ways in which they fight, but not only that, ways in which they have to utilize that power that's given to them or try and extract it, whether it be through items or whatever. It's not just like everyone's, what I mean? Everyone's gifted and it's like, I summon dogs. I do this. It's like, no, I actually have to use glasses to see, and then I do this. And I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm also curious, and it was somewhat comical when Fuji was fighting Musclehead, and he's got blood all over his head and everything like that. And he's like, oh, I wasn't even trying. You know what I mean? He says to him, and then he's like, now I'll try. First of all, curious to see what that actually means, because the way that they might be reading into it a little much, but when they closed up on him, it seemed like we might have saw something that we had never seen before. We do know that he has quite a bit of latent ability, as described by Sukuna himself. So obviously he's going to be at the top of the line in terms of fighters here. So that was interesting. I was curious to see what that was going to be all about, but I guess we have to reserve that for later on. But yeah, I thought it was just funny, just standard anime trope thing where it's like, oh, you waited till you got your head smashed through like a building and, like, beaten to a pulp before you're like, I wasn't even trying. It's like, when were we going to start? But that's just a silly thing. Also, property damage to the school. Does anybody get in trouble for that? He just put the kid through a building.
I don't think so, man. I mean, I've kind of, like I said, I have a feeling this is like
It's
the
crazy.
norm somewhat, like third year's just whooping first year's ass. It's like an initiation thing.
Yeah.
So who's to say the principal's not like, oh, they're at it again. Oh, well. Like, what's he going to do? Go down there and kill it? Like, it's like there's...
Yeah.
The order here is just so loose.
Sure. I'm also curious too with the principal and the Gojo incident, right? Again, might be reading a little too far into it, but Gojo claims to be the strongest, and he is touted as the strongest. Like, so he probably is, right? But I wonder how much that's by, if it's by like leagues, because he does say, he's like, I could just kill all the elders if I wanted to, but like, I don't want to do that, right? Because then what that, that's bad for business. In the prior episode. But I wonder how much strong, like if it is like, if they even have a shot, if it's like all of them versus him. And the reason I say that is because when they have that meeting with each other and Gojo kind of talks smack to the principal, and then the principal's just kind of being old and, whatever, he's just chilling there and he's taking it. And then like Gojo finally just kind of crosses the line and the guy's like, he just opens his eyes and he's like, you're getting close. You know what I mean? Like, and I think to myself, I'm like, okay, I guess, is it fully known that like, Gojo is that much stronger? Like, you got to know, right? If everybody else knows that Gojo's the strongest. So like, I don't think you're going to intimidate Gojo, but I wonder like if they have a contingency plan within not just the school, but among Jujutsu sorcerers. So be like, hey, if Gojo does anything, you know what I mean? Or like acts up in any sort of way, like this is our plan to like kind of stop Gojo, because as we've experienced in these episodes, and I mean, there's standard anime tropes ensue, but like there's kind of this fractured walking on thin ice kind of mentality and, camaraderie, dare I say, amongst the characters in this show, unless they're like some of, the core cast. So I find that interesting. I wonder if there's like behind the scenes stuff going on with like the political dealings with that. And if they had a plan for Gojo in the event that he decides to just do that, you know what I mean? Because he's like a god. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. And I wonder how strong the elders are or some of the other folks, A, in comparison to Gojo, and B, just in general. You know what I mean? Like how confident really are they?
They do. I kind of feel like they, because I definitely feel like the old man is going to get offended because he's old and mad. But I feel like he probably knows that he couldn't take Gojo in a fight. And so I kind of feel like they have some sort of like backdoor schemey, like, ooh, we'll just siphon off his like cursed energy or whatever.
Wonder what it is.
And
that or they like make a deal with said cursed
cursed.
objects,
with
to get rid of Gojo. Like I feel like that's just a route that they go down.
Yeah.
They could take. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, it was interesting to me. But we just have that part at the end where they meet again. I do have to appreciate that they use actual jujitsu, ironically, in the when she puts the girl in the chokehold there. But yeah, that was yeah, right. Who knows? But anyway, I don't know. We're there, and then we get Musclehead gets to meet his idol, so that was something. And then the after credit scene was with that, and it's like find out she swings the other way, and it was.
We realize that Nabora makes an ally, or makes finds a friend or mentor, whatever you want to call her, because they kind of both like they fight using the same thing, and so she admires that like she is. That despite her, what I guess the sorcerers would consider shortcomings, because she talks about how all the other sorcerers look down on her and stuff, that she's going to forge her own path. And we see that Nabora kind of has this like, oh shit, like I really fuck with that kind of thing. So that's cool. Yeah. And then, there's a scene with Itadori and Glasses scientist man.
Yeah, because it was a month later.
And, yeah. And they're stumbling upon some new, cursed spirit or some new murder mystery. But I guess it's alluded to at the very least that the gentleman with the white hair and the stitches all around him was either responsible or at the very least involved in some way, shape, or form with said incident. we will see. I guess next episode.
Yes, yeah, I'm
I
curious.
don't know. I have no idea. All I know. I mean, well, I don't know anything, but the kid, I guess, or the guy that like confronts him in the alleyway at the very end, I'm assuming is like a neutral party in this, and like through the course of the next episode, or maybe the next few episodes, is like he's going to like have to. He's going to learn a lot more about like the cursed spirit side of things and the sorcery stuff, and then he's going to have to like I guess pick a side maybe, or maybe he just becomes a ally of the sorcerers by default. I don't know.
Sure,
but
yeah. Plus he's in the OP with the school uniform, so he's got a spoilers OP. What the hell?
Forgot.
Yeah.
All right, never mind then.
Anyway, Gavin, do you have any closing thoughts or no?
I'm interested to see when we get more episodes like this, because it's going to happen. Like, I don't think it's a fluke that we just got this, like, really funny episode. I feel like they're doing it on purpose for the comedic relief, in Sue of the story, because let's be real, the last however many episodes have been pretty hardcore in terms of, like, the fighting, stuff that's happening. So, like, to add an episode like this, we're, like, ramping up the comedic value to try to give the audience relief. They know they're doing this on purpose, and I feel like we're just going to see more of it as we move forward. So I guess it's a tidbit to not be so surprised in how jarring it might be when we do get episodes like this in the future, because in my opinion, it's going to happen, and I'm okay with it. Like, I thought it was funny as shit, but, like, I don't think it was a one and done, like, wrap it up with the bow just to waste time. Like, I genuinely think that it's going to be a theme we're going to see moving forward, where it's, like, hardcore, maybe, wow, I did not even say that once properly, but, and then, like, maybe a 1 or 2 episode span of this said comedic relief. We're going to find out next week when we watch that episode, but,
sure.
I feel like we're going to see this, like, input a couple times.
Yeah. They do utilize comedy fairly well, in my opinion, throughout the episodes in this, which I guess is something that can be very important when you have a show that is, I don't even know what it's a shonen, but like, I guess, but like, this like horror-esque, very dark style thing. Sometimes you need that to break it up sometimes. And I feel like they do that. They do a good job of sprinkling that throughout even their serious episodes, where it's like,
well, that's the thing with me is like, there's certain shows that we've watched before, like Noblesse, where I feel like it kind of needs that because the plot heavy episodes are so sporadic that it's like, wait, what the fuck is going on? So you like use the comedy as something to lean back on and be like, oh, okay, we're, all right, like, forget about it. Now we're in this part of the world, whatever, with Rai, and he's cracking and making jokes with Frankie or whatever. But I feel like weirdly enough, like I do think we might get more episodes like the one we got today, but I don't think we would need them. Like, I actually feel like Jujutsu Kaisen does a very good job of pacing the story and like all the serious beats and elements that we get to where like if we just kept going like full course with the story from here on out, like I think it would be fine.
Which and you could say that about a lot of shows, but the thing is when is there a point when you're just burning through material, and not that it's like a pseudo filler in a sense, but like if you keep on the storyline, which is what we want as viewers, but like for people making the show, they want to stretch it out a little bit. So if they can throw in episodes that add comedic relief, which is, relief to the story plot, and it can burn out a couple weeks, to then keep it showing longer, like that's why we see it in all the shows that we watch. Like, studios want to get it to run a little bit, and with the notoriety this show has already built with its name, it's kind of like a no-brainer that they're just going to do it. And I mean, it's going to service the story, in terms of, oh, that's funny, ha ha ha, like that was a great episode, or, a funny episode. But I feel like it's 100% given that we're going to get episodes like this. And I feel like just from every aspect that you look at it from a production-wise view, it's just going to happen. So I'm just saying, be prepared for it. I wouldn't expect it to just be,
I like I said, I fully expect that we're going to get more episodes like this. I'm just saying I don't feel they would need to. Like, of course, if you want to talk from like production standpoint, like trying to make money, if that's the way, like, they're like, we could just stretch this out and we can do more with less. But it's like, what I'm saying is I don't feel like they would have to go that route, like and still keep the story as engaging as it has been, because I feel like personally it's done a good job of that.
Yeah. So actually I have a couple questions for anyone watching or listening right now, if you want to comment down below. Number one, if any of you have read the manga to this and are caught up, or at least to where we are in the show right now, do they kind of go along the same route in the manga as the show, or vice versa rather? The show takes the same route as the manga, or did they change some things? Because I'm curious to know on that. And my second question would be to you, do you enjoy these episodes, or these not really breaks from the story, because it is important to introduce these characters. It's just the way in which they introduce them. I guess that's my question. Like, how do you feel about the introduction of these characters, or episodes that take, this like, this dark thing, like it's completely flipped on its head, and it's like straight comedy for X amount of time. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts there as well. But
yeah, I don't know. From what I've heard, I mean, again, answer if I'm wrong, but Mappa is pretty good with like actually following the manga like to a T.
Sure.
So from what I've heard, for the most part at this point, it's like been beat for beat pretty much like what the manga has been.
I've
So
heard
just
that.
to give a little bit of insight.
Okay.
From what I've heard.
all right, fair enough.
But,
Awesome. Anyway, folks, those are our thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen episode 8, Boredom. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, sharing with your friends, commenting your thoughts down below. What do you think of our discussion? What do you think about the show? What do you think about this episode, etc.? Make sure you guys are referring to our description where we have a bunch of links for ways that you could support the show, such as our Twitch channel if you want to throw a follow there, such as our merch line if you want to rep some AoA swag, our Patreon if you want exclusive benefits to the show, or audio only like Spotify if you need to listen to us on the go. We also have our social media there as well. But until next time, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Hey, you know what it is, dog. Ninjas are samurais, blaze of the kunais. Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls though, who like seeing parts fly.